Hi everyone. Last week I mentioned an NGO called Fight for Right, and today I wanted to highlight a group called SafeBo. I will link their website in the description box down below. I've been talking about them over on Instagram. They were started by Rain, and essentially they are an ever-growing network of people who are helping especially LGBTQ+, BIPOC and disabled people evacuate Ukraine, help with border crossings, getting people trains, taxis, drivers, resources and food if they're stuck places. The network they've created is incredible. They're on the ground there now, as well as organising things online. All of the money that they are raising is going towards buying food, resources, paying drivers, all that stuff. I just wanted to mention them. They're linked in the description box down below if you want to go find out more and support. Thanks. On with the rest of the video. Hi everyone, my name is Jen. I'm an author and a book reviewer, and today I am here what I am pretty sure is the biggest book haul that I have done on this channel in the 8 years that I have been here. So let's just dive in. As usual, all the books will be listed in the description box down below if you want to go find out more. So at the top of the pile, we have 3 books that I purchased for a reading vlog, which will have gone up a few days ago. If you want to check it out, I'll link it down below, where I was reading books recommended by algorithms, specifically Storygraph's algorithm. I'd already purchased 2 and then I bought 3 more in that video and then read them. So the 3 that I bought were Never Have I Ever by Isabel Yap, Shut Up You're Pretty by Mutonji, and Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw. I have now read these. There were mixed results. If you want to go hear my thoughts, as I said, the video will be linked down below. Then a couple of weeks ago, I also did a reading vlog where I read other booktubers' favourite books of 2021. And one of the books that I read in that was Ring Shout by Djèlí, which was a recommendation from Tori. And I loved that book, so I decided I wanted to purchase another of his. So I bought this, which is a tiny little thing, and it's called The Black God's Drums, obviously by Djèlí. I've had to bring you over from the window because suddenly the sun is very much here. So this is a novella about a young girl called Creeper who really wants to leave the streets of New Orleans and gain safe passage on a spaceship, an airship, a smuggler airship, which is run by someone called Captain Anne-Marie. But Creeper has a secret because Oya, who's the African Orisha of the wind and storms, speaks inside her head. So it seems like a lot to cram into this little book, but Ring Shout was like that too, and that was successful. So I'm excited, and I may do another reading vlog in the future where I read lots of short books that are on my shelves, and I'll definitely include that one if I do that. Next we have one of my most anticipated books of the year. It's a short story collection called How to Gut a Fish by Sheila Armstrong, and it's just ticking all of my boxes. Let me find a bit of the blurb for you. On a boat offshore, a fisherman guts a mackerel as he anxiously awaits a midnight rendezvous. Villagers one by one disappear into a sinkhole. A nameless girl is taped, bound and put on display in a countryside market, and a man returns home following the death of his mother and finds something disturbing amongst her personal effects. I'm not sure if these are interconnected short stories all focused around one particular village. I'm quite excited by that potential, but equally excited about it if these characters have nothing to do with each other. Next, I've got this book, which is a new edition of a 1976 novel, which was dubbed the most controversial novel to ever be published in Canada. It's called Bear by Marian Engel, and it's about a woman who enters into a sexual relationship with a bear. It sounds quite fable-like. I don't know if it's going to pull from things like East of the Sun, West of the Moon, but I'm intrigued nevertheless. Then we've got a proof. This one is coming out next month in April. It's called Wet Paint by Chloe Ashby, and I'm going to be reviewing this in April for Toast, so I'll definitely be talking about it next month. And this is a novel about a 20-something, I think, woman called Eve, whose best friend Grace has died. So it's about female friendship, grief, sadness, mental health. I will report back on that one soon. Then we have 6 books from Charcoal Press, and these are books that I bought in their sale. I did speak about these when I bought them because I filmed the video. I don't think, was it live? I can't remember. Was I live book shopping with you? I don't know, but I'll link that video in the description box down below. It was mainly a video that was talking about hospital appointments and stuff, and wigs and styling wigs, but also at the end there was a book, not haul, but book shopping, a sharing of book shopping experiences online, and Charcoal Press had something ridiculous like 50% off all of their books. So I bought a few, and their book Eleanor Knows, which is my favourite book so far of this year by Claudia Pinheiro, has just been longlisted for the Man Booker International Prize, and I am so thrilled by that. So anyway, I would recommend that, but let's check out these 6 that I've also purchased. First, we have this book by Gabriela Cabezón Cámara, and this is The Adventures of China Iron, translated from the Spanish by Fiona McIntosh and Iona McIntyre. This is an Argentinian novel, and it's a subversion retelling of Martin Fierro, and I think it's queer. Then we've got Dead Girls by Selva Almada, and this is translated from the Spanish by Annie McDermott. This one is a non-fiction book. This book is about gender violence in Argentina, and it says it's written in the style of Truman Capote's In Cold Blood, and it's following the lives of 3 teenage girls who were murdered in the early 1980s. This is The President's Room by Ricardo Romero, translated by Charlotte Coombe. This one is definitely the smallest of the 6, and it's a strange world where everybody has to have a room in their house that is dedicated to the president, just in case he happens to need it. No one can remember when this rule initially began, but everyone has just been following it. It sounds great. Next is this novel from Uruguay, which is by Fernanda and Trías, and it's called The Rooftop, translated by Annie McDermott again. It says, "This world is the house," says Clara, barricading herself inside a crumbling apartment with her father, her baby daughter Flor, and an ailing canary. It's about their house representing the wider surroundings and the house crumbling around them as the world outside, in a political sense, falls around them as well. It was selected as one of El País' best books of the year. It's a claustrophobic foray into freedom, paranoia, and motherhood. Byobu by Ida Vitale, translated by Sean Manning. The title of this is a Japanese word which means, I've forgotten, let me remind myself. Oh, it means wind wall. It's one of the folding screens in Japan. I really don't know very much about this apart from it's also from Uruguay and is very poetic and experimental, so I wanted to give it a go. And then finally, before we move on to the other books, this is A Perfect Symmetry by Federico Falco, translated by Jennifer Croft. Oh yes, I just remembered when reading the beginning of the blurb, I bought this one because it reminded me a little bit of Shelter by Jun Young, because it begins, "In the middle of a blizzard, a widow watches the ruin of her late husband's garden until suddenly she sees a woman running naked in the falling snow." And I just really wanted to know what was going to happen next. Next on my pile is something rather different. This is Poems for 7-Year-Olds, edited by A.F. Harrold. It has lots of poems for kids in here, including a poem by me. So if you would like a book of silly, fun, and also moving poems for a young person in your life, then may I recommend this one. The poem of mine that's in here is called Welcome to the Bookshop, whereas if I can find it, I will read it to you. Here we go. It's got some little illustrations throughout as well. Welcome to the bookshop. Hello, explorer. Hello, time traveller. Hello, wordsmith and translator. Hello, learner and watcher. Hello, listener and grower. Hello, librocubicularist. That's those who like to read in bed. Here's a map. Mind the gap. On the first floor, there be dragons. On the second, flying lessons. On the third floor, there's a forest. On the fourth, a choir of sonnets. On the fifth, if you're quick, you can discuss politics with any character from history. On the sixth, let's solve a mystery. When you're done, pull up a seat. We'll have some cake and drink some tea. Check for crumbs, crack that spine, choose which words to underline. Hello you. Hello reader. Welcome home. I miss bookshops so much. Okay, next we have another collection of short stories. This is a book by Kim Fu. I read their book For Today I Am a Boy a few years ago and enjoyed it. This one is called Lesser Known Monsters of the 21st Century, and can we have a moment for this cover, which is designed by J.A. Michelli, and isn't it just beautiful? Again, it's ticking all my boxes. It's about a girl who grows wings on her legs. A bug-infested house becomes an impossible Kafkaesque nightmare. Each story builds a new world all its own. A group of children steal a haunted doll, yes. A runaway bride encounters a sea monster, yes. A vendor sells toy boxes that seemingly control the passage of time. Yes, yes and yes. If I don't love this book, I'm going to be so disappointed. Next we have another short little novel. This is a proof that I requested. It's actually a finished copy, but it's still an ARC. So this is Cold Enough for Snow by Jessica Au, and this is about a mother and daughter who meet up in Tokyo and try and connect with each other. It says that it questions whether any of us speak a common language, which dimensions can contain love, and what claim we have to truly know each other's inner worlds. Again, I may read this in a reading the shortest books on my TBR vlog. The next book that I purchased is this novel, and I bought it because I saw Holly Exley talking about it. I'll link her down below. It's got a brilliant title, You Are Eating an Orange, You Are Naked by Sheung-King, and this is about a translator who goes from his hometown in Toronto, then on to Hong Kong and Prague and Tokyo and other places. His unnamed lover comes with him. In restaurants and in hotel rooms, they entertain each other with comic and enigmatic folk tales, and I was sold by Holly's description of it, her love for it, and also the beginning of that blurb. Then I've got a few books here. How many? 5 books on disability and disfigurement that I bought recently, and I featured these in my updated books on disfigurement and disability, talking about books I've read and recommended and books that are on my TBR. So these are some that are on my TBR. This is a new collection of essays called On Being Ill, and it's based on Virginia Woolf's essay of the same name, but also has extracts in it from Audre Lorde as well. We've got essays in here by Lucia Osborne Crowley and Sinead Gleason and other people. Then we've got 3 anthologies, but these 2 go together. So this is Defying Doomsday and this is Rebuilding Tomorrow. This one imagines disabled people in many different apocalypses, all written by different writers. And then this is disabled people rebuilding the world after an apocalypse and just centering lots of different lives. And I am just so thrilled that these exist. And likewise, this is Accessing the Future, which is speculative fiction looking at technology and disability and space. Then this anthology is called What Meets the Eye, The Deaf Perspective, and I bought this one because it contains work by Lynn Buckle, who wrote What Willow Knows, which was the winner of this year's Barbellion Prize, and again one of my favourite books of this year. This is by Arachne Press, who I don't think I've read anything from before, but that's lots of own voices writers. Then we have a few proofs. This is Vladimir by Julia May Jonas, which is coming out in May. I don't want to read the blurb because I don't want to find out too much, but I think it's about the wife of a professor who has been accused of sexually assaulting lots of his students. I think this is going to be one of the big releases this summer. And likewise, this is The Dance Tree by Kieran Millwood Hargrave, who's the author of The Mercies and lots of middle grade fiction too. And this is set around the 1518 dancing plague that swept through Europe, where lots of people dance until they died, and I'm sure this is going to be very moving, as all of her work is. I should say The Dance Tree is also coming out in May. Then I bought this short story collection called Your Ad Could Go Here by Oksana Sabusko, and this is translated from the Ukrainian by loads and loads of different people, about 7 different people. It says that she's Ukraine's leading public intellectual, and this is a collection of short stories that manages to shock the reader by juxtaposing things as they are, inarguable, visible to the naked eye, with how things could be, weaving myth and fairy tale into pivotal moments, just as we weave a satisfying narrative arc into our own personal mythologies. Then I bought this novel here by Rios de la Luz because I read Itza this month and absolutely loved it and wanted to read more of her writing. This one is called The Pulse Between Dimensions and the Desert. This is a collection of short stories which has Martians in it, time travel agents who save lost children, and many other different things. Her writing was exquisite in Itza, so I'm excited to read more of her work. Then I purchased this novel in translation. This is The Factory by Hiroko Oyamada, and it's translated from the Japanese by David Boyd. And I'm hoping that this is going to be what I hoped There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job was. It's also giving me Severance vibes. Is anyone watching Severance at the moment? Because I'm just obsessed. This is a novel about 3 people who work at a factory and are just intently doing the thing that they have been told to do. So one of them shreds paper, one of them proofreads documents, and one of them watches moss grow, and the boundaries of reality start to shift. It says, where does the factory end and the rest of the world begin? What's going on with the strange animals here? And after a while, it could be weeks or years, the 3 workers struggle to answer the most basic question: what am I doing here? I'm always here for magical realism, dissolving capitalism, sounds great. And then another Japanese novel in translation is this one by Yoko Tawada, and this is a new book that's coming out this summer on the 2nd of June. So this is a proof that I have been sent, and it's called Scattered All Over the Earth. This is a novel about climate crisis. It says, welcome to the not too distant future. Japan has vanished into the sea and is now remembered as the land of sushi. And it's focused on Haruko, who is a former citizen and climate refugee who has a job teaching immigrant children in Denmark with her invented new language. This also just sounds brilliant. Why are there so many books and so little time? Okay, so those are all the books that I wanted to talk to you about today, the books that I've purchased and been sent for review. I would love to know if you have read any of these, or if any of the new releases are on your radar or things that you want to check out. Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a chat. If you like my channel and would like to stick around, please do subscribe. And if you enjoy my content and would like to consider supporting me on Patreon, which allows me to continue making free content for everyone, then that would also be very kind. Links are down below. There's some extra stuff over on Patreon as well for those who are interested. I hope you're all doing as well as you can be, and I'm sending lots of love. Bye.